Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to St. Thomas University's Spring Convocation. I am Dr. Kim Fenwick, Vice President, Academic and Research, and the convener for today's ceremony. Please remain standing as the University Chaplain, Father Sean Daly, delivers the invocation.
Class of 2018, congratulations. Not sure if you've heard, but the Catholic Church has recently received a new pope. His name is Francis, kind of a simple guy. He's the first pope to be ordained since Vatican II, which means he didn't have to learn Latin in order to understand God. I think that makes him pretty much like everybody here. He is much different than others that have been before him. He doesn't rely as much on doctrine and canon law. He grew up with real people and has become very tolerant. May 18th, he will be launching a new movie. In this new movie, has already been nominated at Cannes, and recently in 60 Minutes, he was asked, "What remains for you?" He said, "Not from doctrine, not from canon law, not quoting any predecessors." He said, "Prayer, a smile, and a sense of humor." I think this is great, because atheists can do 2 out of 3. He goes on to say that he says a prayer every morning, and that prayer is from St. Thomas More. Now, you'll be surprised to know perhaps that St. Thomas More was a lawyer and a saint, which really messes up a lot of punchlines. Sorry, Mr. Mulroney. So I like to make that prayer our prayer for this convocation. Grant me, O Lord, good digestion, but also something to eat. Grant me a healthy body and a necessary good sense of humor to maintain it. Grant me a simple spirit that knows to treasure all things and does not frighten easily at the sight of evil, but rather finds a means to put things back in their place. So we say, to Stu, thank you for perspective. Give me a spirit that knows not boredom, grumbling, sighs, or laments, nor excess in stress because of that obstructing thing called iPhone, iPad, iMessage. Grant me, O Lord, a good sense of humor. Allow me the grace to be able to take a joke and to discover in life a bit of joy and to be able to pass it on to others. Dear class of 2018, if you can do that, I promise you that money will never be a problem. Status will never matter. Bosses who are completely out of touch with reality will have no negative effect on you. It'll be like water on a duck's back. So if this prayer is good enough for Pope Francis, I hope it is good enough for you. But believe me when I tell you, it is my wish, it is my prayer, it is my desire to you. Amen.
The land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Wolastoqey or Maliseet, whose ancestors, along with the Mi'kmaq and Passamaquoddy nations, signed peace and friendship treaties with the British Crown in the 1700s. I would now like to invite our elder-in-residence, Mi'kmaq, to come forward to provide a traditional welcome both to this territory and to our convocation.
Abchilida, Wegiulali Chigisuk, Tandeligan Muya Kiskuk, Gelo Pimajuahan, Wegulali ek dandeligen muye ek lalamakchuwech, kinamuanen, abohon muanen, unahidanen lausit hamu, abohon muadmenen, ahabajiladen, dan gluten mimajuahan, uchitande sit dawan, uchitande sit mimajuenu, uchitande sit mahamigeo mimajuahan. Much gratitude to the great maker, the maker of all, and on behalf of our nationhood and St. Thomas University, I want to acknowledge the graduates today and celebrate them as they journey out here in the wonderful space that was created from their energy and from the teachers that was here in service for them. In my prayer, or in how we acknowledge in our own culture, is to acknowledge that we are here together to work together and care for our great mother. Our first sacred contract is to care for each other, to take care of the land, and to be able to work on behalf of our future generations, to make sure that life is returned back to balance, and that when as we move forward in our life, that we do not, we leave footsteps, but footsteps that are guided by our ancestors, and to be able to make sure that the future is, there is a good future for all, not just the humankind, but for all life. We're talking about the plant life, the animal life, the tree life, the winged life, and the rivers, all the life and the environment in the rivers and the oceans. So we have a big responsibility, and we know that life will be returning in that space as we see the wonderful energy here that's will be moving forward out to care for the land and for all of life. Wegulaliek, mi wadam dandeligen muyek, mi majuahan ak chigisuk. Thank you.
Thank you, and please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce the platform party. I ask that each member stand briefly when I say their name, and that we hold applause until all members have been introduced. The Most Reverend Robert Harris, Bishop of St. John and Chancellor of the University. President and Vice Chancellor, Professor Don Russell. The Honorable Graydon Nicholas. The Right Honorable Brian Mulrooney, Honorary Degree recipient. Mrs. Milla Mulrooney, Honorary Degree recipient. The Honorable Noel Kinsella. The Honorable David Adams Richards. Deputy Premier, the Honorable Stephen Horseman. Mayor of Oromocto, the Honorable Robert Powell. Mayor of New Maryland, the Honorable Judy Wilson-Shee. Deputy Mayor of Fredericton, Ms. Kate Rogers. Deputy Commanding Officer, Personnel Support Services, Major James Hunter. Mrs. Marilyn Luscombe, President and CEO, New Brunswick Community College. Mi'kmaq Han, Elder in Residence. Reverend Sean Daly, University Chaplain. Ms. Lily Fraser, Vice President, Finance and Administration. Ms. Jody Michelle, Vice President, Advancement and Alumni Relations. Dr. Susan Malcomson, Dean of Social Sciences. Dr. Andre Loisel, incoming Dean of Humanities. Ms. Karen Preston, Registrar. Dr. Michael Dawson, Associate Vice President, Research. And Mr. Scott Duguay, Associate Vice President, Enrollment Management. Please join me in welcoming the platform party. Thank you. I now invite Professor Don Russell, President and Vice Chancellor of St. Thomas University, to address the convocation.
Bishop Harris, esteemed honorary degree recipients, platform guests, faculty and staff, members of the graduating class of 2018, ladies and gentlemen. As president and as a professor who taught for more than 25 years, one of my greatest pleasures is witnessing the success of our students and the conferral of degrees upon them. Now, you may not be surprised to know that as president, I love to boast about the many successes of our students, and there is indeed much to be proud of. From the impressive record of today's graduates in attracting the best scholarships available to pursue graduate studies or professional degrees, to their lively theatrical and musical performances, from their athletic achievements and outstanding record of community service, to their World Championship win last summer at the Nelson Mandela Human Rights Moot Court Competition in Geneva, Switzerland. In Geneva last summer, our students discovered that St. Thomas provides them with a world-class education, with an education that prepares them not only to compete against students from universities regarded as the best in the world, but also to win. Our students beat out teams from Yale, Oxford, and the University of Buenos Aires to earn the World Championship. But perhaps what makes us most proud is that our students become engaged citizens who are involved in their communities. A recent National Baccalaureate survey of graduate outcomes revealed that St. Thomas graduates have significantly greater engagement than their peers nationally with civic issues, as well as with broader issues such as environmental sustainability and social diversity. Our graduates are more likely than their national peers to support community causes and social justice and human rights concerns. Now, it's common for university presidents to use convocation as an opportunity to call attention to the successes of their faculty. However, I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank our faculty for their continued success in delivering the kind of education we promise our students, an education which teaches them to think critically, creatively, and independently, and to communicate well both orally and in writing. Now, while we all recognize the shortcomings of many external ranking systems, it is heartening to know that when student voices are heard, STU continues to perform exceptionally well. In the spring 2017 issue of Maclean's magazine, in a section called Students Speak Out, the feedback from our graduates resulted in St. Thomas being ranked #1 in Canada on the Writing Ability Indicator and #2 in Canada for helping them to develop strong critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Now, these tremendously positive results are noteworthy for several reasons. They are in areas that are at the heart of what we do and value as a liberal arts institution. They're in areas on which we have chosen to focus and excel, and in the form of direct feedback from our graduates. They demonstrate the value of the collective dedication, hard work, and fine teaching of our faculty, and also the appreciation of our graduates for that contribution from the faculty. Now, this afternoon we have close to 300 graduates, The vast majority from our Bachelor of Arts program, a few from our Bachelor of Applied Arts program, and a few from Bachelor of Social Work. 47 Bachelor of Social Work students actually received their degrees and finished their program in December, but they're already working far and wide, but we're pleased to have a few of them here with us today. Another part of this celebration is our formal recognition of our honorary degree recipients, the Right Honorable Brian Mulroney and Mrs. Milla Mulrooney, two individuals whose lives and examples we hope will be a source of inspiration to our graduates. For you, our graduates, today's convocation marks the completion of the journey you began when you arrived at STU a few years ago. And for us, it's an opportunity to recognize your achievements and to welcome you formally as members of the St. Thomas University alumni. Many years ago, just over 40 years ago, I completed a similar journey at St. Thomas, one on which I forged friendships which I can now say have lasted a lifetime, and was given an educational foundation that served me well to meet the challenges and opportunities life later presented. I hope that in the future, you will feel the same fondness and gratitude that I feel for our small but mighty university, as the Premier has called it. Today is the beginning of a new chapter in your lives, a time to celebrate your accomplishments, to consider the future, but also a time to reflect on the assistance and the support that you have received. Most of us accomplish very little in life without the help or support of others. There are many family members and friends here today to cheer you on, and I know that you are grateful for their help, their encouragement, understanding, and perhaps even financial support, all of which probably was a source of great help to you in achieving what you have today. So I want to take a moment and ask you, our graduates, to stand and give a warm round of applause to family members and friends. A little more than a year and a half ago, those of you who are graduating today with your Bachelor of Social Work degree arrived on campus ready to embark on your postgraduate studies. During your intensive program, you formed close bonds of friendship with one another that often are only experienced in a small professional program. And now, here you are, ready to embark on your career. I have a profound respect for the members of the social work profession. As social workers, you will provide a vital service to the community. But the responsibility that social work entails can be tough. You'll be called upon, as you know, to make difficult decisions, and very often you will have to make choices between options, none of which appear to be ideal. But I know that you understand as well that your work can be difficult, but that's really only half the story. That you know that in the field you also meet some remarkable people who have been presented with extreme challenges in their lives, but who confront those challenges with courage and conviction. And you know, too, that you will get to experience the best parts of yourselves. In your interactions with people, you will find that you may have more generosity, more patience, more humility than you thought you did. You will change lives. When those of you who are graduating today with your Bachelor of Arts came to us a few years ago, you came from different places and diverse backgrounds. Many of you were worried whether you'd fit in, whether this was the right choice for you. But you've cut your path, found your way, and I think most of you have found some soulmates along the way. As you graduate, the current economic conditions and the social context are such that the contribution of the liberal arts to the workplace is sometimes undervalued. Critics accuse the liberal arts, the humanities, and the social sciences of lacking cultural and economic relevance. But let me tell you, the evidence shows otherwise. A recent Maritime Provinces Higher Education Commission study showed that 5 years after graduation, 95% of humanities and social science graduates are employed, 92% in jobs they are satisfied with, and with an average median salary almost double what they were earning 2 years out. And last spring, at a meeting of Canadian university presidents in Toronto, the president of the Royal Bank of Canada, David MacKay, spoke about the demand for liberal arts graduates. He noted that while the talent pool is improving overall, the erosion of liberal arts is a problem for universities and for business. In business, he said, we need a lot more of the soft skills that universities were traditionally good at and which a liberal arts education provides. David MacKay is right. We know that the liberal arts help us to understand and interpret the human experience, from individuals to entire cultures, that they enable us to rediscover the past and to connect it to the present, to enable a deeper understanding of contemporary society. They teach us to weigh evidence skeptically, to consider more than one side of every question, and encourage us to think creatively. They teach us to reason about being human and to ask important questions about our world. The liberal arts developed informed and engaged citizens. They prepare us to adjust to a rapidly changing world, and without the liberal arts, our democracy will not flourish. And indeed, rarely have the skills of the liberal arts been more necessary than they are today in this post-truth era. The value of a liberal arts education is worth both the private and the public investment, engaged citizens, workforce development, and a strong society. In Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, there's a passage where Alice asks the Cheshire Cat, "Would you tell me where I ought to go from here?" And I expect that many of our graduates are asking the same question today. The Cheshire Cat's simple answer was, well, that depends a great deal on where you want to go. A simple answer, full of wisdom. It's natural to worry about your future, but don't just worry. Create it for yourself. You determine the direction you're going to take. Like STU graduates who have gone before you, you will eventually find your way to an exciting and fulfilling future. For more than 100 years, St. Thomas has prepared leaders in almost every field of endeavor, and you're going to hear from one of them in a few minutes. Today, you're going to leave us with a degree in hand, but that alone is not enough. Over time, life teaches us that success in life, no matter how you define it, requires personal qualities, talents and skills that we can neither teach nor test in university. Creativity, adaptability, people skills, street smarts, a capacity for hard work, persistence and grit, integrity, and a certain zest for life, a chutzpah. These are qualities and skills that I know you all have. And if you doubt it, look deep inside, I know you'll find them. Combined with the knowledge and skills that you have acquired here at St. Thomas, these personal attributes and skills will assist you in creating the future that you want for yourself. As a group, those of you graduating today have contributed greatly to the richness and vibrancy, to the caring and compassion that characterize our small community, and to the intellectually and culturally diverse life of our community through your involvement in a wide array of activities. We thank you for that. Some of you have had to overcome tremendous obstacles to achieve what you have, from personal illnesses and disabilities to family illnesses and losses of friends and loved ones, from financial hardships to family responsibilities. Making it to the final leg of your journey here while coping with such challenges is a triumph to celebrate. I know that those of you graduating today are concerned with your own future, but I also know that you are concerned with the plight of your fellow human beings and about the challenges that face our province, our region, and our country. You understand that you have both a responsibility and a role in changing them, in meeting these challenges. As you leave the shelter of our small community here at St. Thomas, be bold, be courageous, and take risks. Grab the opportunities that come your way. They may lead you to a future better than you ever imagined. And remember how blessed we are in this society and in the world to have a university education. I know you're going to make us proud. Keep in touch. Congratulations and best wishes to you all.
Thank you, President Russell. St. Thomas University presents honorary degrees to individuals who have distinguished themselves either in academic or cultural circles or in service to society. Today, we are privileged to bestow honorary degrees on the Right Honorable Brian Mulroney and Milla Mulrooney. Through their lengthy and distinguished service to society, both of these individuals represent the high ideals that we seek to instill in our students through a liberal arts education. Will Milla Mulrooney please stand? Milla Mulrooney played an important public role during her husband's time in office as Prime Minister. For over 3 decades, she has been one of Canada's most prominent and effective leaders of charitable causes. Milla Mulrooney is a native of Sarajevo, Bosnia-Herzegovina, who came to Canada at a young age. She studied engineering at Concordia University, and as the wife of Canada's 18th Prime Minister, she attended to a full agenda of official functions in Canada and abroad during the years of her husband's government. She also represented Canada at international fora and played a leadership role in many charitable and educational endeavors. For 11 years, she served as National Chair of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation of Canada, raising millions of dollars for research into this fatal genetic disease, while spending countless hours visiting, encouraging, and consoling the victims and their parents. She has also focused on literacy projects, working most closely with Frontier College. Mrs. Mulrooney was co-chair of the Table of Hope, a leading Montreal charity that provides thousands of meals to over 33 schools in less affluent neighborhoods in Montreal. She has also served as a board member of the foundation of the Toronto Hospital for Sick Children, Le Grand Ballet Canadien, and the McGill University School of Music. Most Reverend Chancellor, I present to you Mrs. Milla Mulrooney to have conferred upon her the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit you, Milla Mulrooney, to the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Congratulations, Dr. Mulroney. Will the Right Honorable Brian Mulrooney please stand? Brian Mulrooney graduated from St. Thomas College, St. Francis Xavier University, and Université Laval. He practiced law in Montreal and was president of the Iron Ore Company of Canada before becoming leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada. In 1984, he led the Conservatives to the largest election victory in Canadian history, becoming Canada's 18th Prime Minister. He was re-elected with a majority government 4 years later, becoming the first Prime Minister in 35 years to win successive majority governments and the first Conservative Prime Minister to do so in a century. While in office, his government introduced the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement, the North American Free Trade Agreement, and the Canada-US Asset Rain Treaty. Mr. Mulrooney also served as co-chair of the United Nations World Summit for Children, and his government played leading roles in the campaign against apartheid in South Africa and the creation of Le Sommet de Francophonie. He is a companion of the Order of Canada and a Grand Officer of the Ordre National du Québec, and has received the highest civilian recognition from Haiti, Ukraine, Japan, South Africa, and France for his leadership in vital matters affecting their nations. In 2000, McGill's North American Studies Institute determined that Mulrooney had the best economic record of any prime minister since World War II. In 2006, a panel of environmental groups determined that he was the greenest prime minister in history. In 2009, a survey by the Hill Times selected him as the most admired former Prime Minister of Canada. Most Reverend Chancellor, I present to you the Right Honorable Brian Mulrooney to have conferred upon him the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit you, Brian Mulrooney, to the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Congratulations, Dr. Mulrooney. I now invite Dr. Brian Mulrooney from the class of 1955 and from the class of 2018 to come forward to address the Convocation.
Reverend Chancellor, Madam President, members of the faculty, distinguished guests, graduating students, mothers and fathers, ladies and gentlemen. C'est avec joie que je me retrouve à l'Université Saint-Thomas, une université admirée et respectée à travers le Canada et je dirais même à travers le monde. Vu que j'ai eu le privilège de fréquenter le St. Thomas College High School à Chatham il y a plusieurs années, je suis d'autant plus reconnaissant pour ce grand honneur que vous m'accordez aujourd'hui. Last night, Madam President, at the dinner, one of your professors, your distinguished professors, came up to me and asked me in regard to the work that I'm doing with Prime Minister Trudeau, helping him on after if that was the first call that I got from the Prime Minister. I said, no, that was the second call. The first call that I got from the Prime Minister when he was elected, but before he was sworn in, was if I had any advice that I could give him as Prime Minister. I said, you know, Justin, I don't think so. But when I think of it, yeah, maybe. Most Canadian Prime Ministers, all Canadian Prime Ministers, when they're elected, need to learn a little humility. Now, I didn't. But all the rest of them after. And to make the point, I told them the story of Prime Minister Diefenbaker. When he was elected in 1957, he made his first trip for a major speech after his election in June to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel on Sherbrooke Street in Montreal, where in the Oval Room of the Ritz, he was giving the keynote address to the annual meeting of La Chambre de Commerce de Montréal Métropolitain, which is a big deal, and certainly was at the time. So Mr. Diefenbaker was there, and he was up on the dais there, talking to the chairman, and the waiter goes by with these little pincettes from the Ritz, and he put down a piece of butter on Mr. Diefenbaker's plate. And the Prime Minister said, could I have another piece of butter, please? And the waiter said, I'm sorry, sir. It's one piece of butter per person. Diefenbaker says, do you know who I am? The waiter says, no. He said, I'm the Right Honorable John Diefenbaker, the new Prime Minister of Canada, and I want another piece of butter. So the waiter says to Diefenbaker, do you know who I am? Diefenbaker says, no. He says, I'm the guy who gives out the butter. Well, Don told me to be brief, and it reminded me of an incident that occurred many years ago when President Eisenhower decided to give Winston Churchill the highest award granted by the United States of America, namely the Presidential Medal of Freedom. But Churchill was getting along in age, and they decided not to have him come to the U.S., but they would do it in Bermuda. So Eisenhower rounded up the leaders of Congress and all the big shots in Washington and flew them down to Bermuda for the awards. And among them was a senior senator from Georgia who was Churchill's biggest admirer, and he couldn't say enough about him. So Eisenhower called him and said, Charlie, I'm going to invite you down, and I'm going to invite you to introduce Sir Winston. But you get 3 minutes, not a second more. The senator said, Mr. President, I'm so honored I'll do exactly what you say. Shows up, big event down in Bermuda. The senator gets up to introduce Churchill, and he begins by saying, after a couple of minutes, he says, I just have to tell you, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm a graduate of Yale University. Y stands for youth. And he goes on for 10 minutes about the youth at Yale. He said, oh, A stands for ambition. Another 10 minutes. L stands for life. And E is for education. 44 minutes he took. And Churchill is growling. Eisenhower is livid. And up gets Churchill in all his majesty. And he strolls over to the podium. And he said, Senator, I want to thank you for the kind words you've said about me. And I want to thank you for your brief remarks about Yale. And all I can say on behalf of everybody here it's a damn good thing you didn't graduate from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I was reminded of it when I heard your esteemed president here, who's done such a magnificent job building this university, when she said today that Yale University got their clocks cleaned in a debate in Geneva by St. Thomas University. Next time I see the President of the United States, hey, Mila? He's friendly with Mila, not with me. I'm going to remind him of that, about the St. Thomas victory over this loudmouth from Yale. Well, when I was young in Baie-Comeau, I had a conversation with my father late on a Sunday night when he returned from the paper mill where he worked as an electrician. He also held down a second job on his days and evenings off, wiring homes and repairing oil burners. When he did that, my mother, apart from raising 6 young kids in a tiny mill house, took in boarders to try and make ends meet. Times were not easy, and I told my father that night of the new apprenticeship program being launched at the mill, where children of employees could train as tradesmen, plumbers, mechanics, electricians, and the like, while being paid a good wage, and then have something unusual, guaranteed future employment for as long as they liked with the company. My father's reply is engraved in my memory. I know, Brian, that times are tough, and we could sure use the extra money you would bring in. But I've learned one thing in my life. The only way out of a paper mill town is through a university door, and you are going to university. My story is not unique. It has happened many times over, no doubt to many of you here today. When I graduated, our Convocation speaker that day, the great editor Grant-Harvey, reminded us that a good education was not principally to provide us with a standard of living, but rather with a standard of life. When I left college, as you are about to do today, when I left college with my friends that day to head to the big city with the bright lights to conquer the world, or so we thought or hoped, I had no money, no connections, and no influence. But I had 2 things of far greater worth: a college degree and the values that had been inculcated into us by a superb faculty and university leaders. And so it is with you today. I can tell you without qualification, at St. Thomas University, you have had the best. In the Bible, in the Old Testament, the prophet says that young men have visions and old men dream dreams. I can remember those days of my youth. I can remember feeling as happy and curious and excited and ambitious as I'm sure you are today. And over the years, after a vigorous life, I can remember the accomplishments and the setbacks. I can recall the splendor of the view from the highest mountaintop and the sorrow one feels in the valley of defeat. I have known both. Life is an unending sequence of challenges from which no one emerges unscathed. Defeat is not something to fear, but surrender is something to reject. Never once did it ever occur to me to quit at any time in my life. I learned at St. Thomas when I was 14 and 15 years of age that failure was not an option, and any time it was staring me in the face, I remembered good old St. Thomas. I learned as well the true meaning of the words of President Truman when he said, "There are no great men. There are only ordinary men who rise to meet great challenges." And so, as I look out at this impressive graduating class today, I see hope for our future in this explosive and dangerous world. You only have to turn on the television last night to see how explosive and dangerous it really is. And I also see inspiration as I look at you for the world's citizens from Monterey to Montreal, from Moncton to Madagascar. The torch truly has been passed. You, the graduates, blessed with a degree from this great university, are our new generation of leaders. And I salute you and congratulate you on your great achievement this golden afternoon of an unforgettable day in lives now filled with such promise and excitement. In a brilliant address delivered some years ago in Toronto, Ted Sorensen, himself a skilled observer of powerful leaders, as special counsel to President Kennedy, and Mila and I got to know him very well on our trips to South Africa in support of Mandela. But Ted Sorensen was President Kennedy's chief counselor and advisor. And he said, "Once in life or in office, those who wish to stand up and stand out and leave something enduring behind must build new institutions, not new images. They must look to the next generation and not merely the next election. They must talk in terms of fundamental values and not merely costs. They must appeal to our hopes as well as our needs, to what we long to be, and to what we know is right. That," he said, "is leadership." The impact of significant public policy decisions is often unclear in the early years. It sometimes takes a considerable period, frequently decades, before the full consequences of an important initiative become apparent. As Reinhold Niebuhr reminded us, nothing worth doing is completed in our lifetime. Therefore, we must be saved by hope. And nothing fine or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we must be saved by faith. It is in this perspective that great and controversial questions of public policy must be considered. Time is the ally of leaders who placed the defense of principle ahead of the pursuit of popularity. As was written one day in the New York Times by one of my favorite columnists, here is something we should have learned as teenagers. Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right. And history has little time for the marginal roles played by the carpers and complainers, and less for their opinions. The deciders, the leaders, in education, healthcare, science, business, the arts, as well as politics, are honored because they are the men and women whose contributions have shaped the destiny of these nations. These leaders are here today. The fathers and mothers who have raised children, made a living, built small businesses, and contributed to society in a million uncelebrated ways. And tomorrow's leaders, the graduates, are here as well, and you will soon be shaping the agendas that will guide our lives for years to come. And so I say to you quite simply, if ever you search for a lodestar to guide you through the gently unfolding decades of your lives, you may wish to consider a few lines from Mr. Justice Learned Hand, the greatest American jurist by far, who was never appointed to the United States Supreme Court. Many years ago, he was invited to welcome immigrants to America, Catholics, Protestants, and Jews, mostly poor and unlettered people from Central and Eastern Europe and the Middle East. He defined for them that day on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, at the citizenship ceremony, the spirit of liberty he hoped they would find in the life of their new country. His words have universal reach. They apply to us all everywhere, including the graduates in this hall today. He said, "The spirit of liberty is the spirit that is not too sure that it is right. The spirit of liberty seeks to understand the minds of other men and other women. The spirit of liberty weighs their interests alongside your own without bias. And the spirit of liberty knows that not even a sparrow falls to earth unheeded. And the spirit of liberty is the spirit of him who near 2,000 years ago taught mankind a lesson that it has never quite learned, but never quite forgotten, that there may be a kingdom. There may be a kingdom where the least shall be heard and considered side by side with the greatest. If you can incorporate into your lives some of the humility and generosity and wisdom contained in those words, you will have a happy landing. And it will be said of you one day that you have brought honor to your country, pride to your family, and achievement to your life. No one, absolutely no one, can ask for more. Thank you, every good wish, and may God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Mulroney, for your inspiring and encouraging address for our graduates. We now proceed to the central part of our program, the conferral of degrees upon our students. After the degrees have been conferred, our Dean, Dr. Susan Malcomson, will read the names of the graduates for presentation to the Chancellor. Karen Preston, our Registrar, will assist President Russell with the presentation of diplomas. We begin with the Bachelor of Applied Arts. Our Bachelor of Applied Arts degrees are offered in collaboration with the New Brunswick Community College. Would the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Applied Arts please stand? Most Reverend Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting these candidates for the degree Bachelor of Applied Arts. I testify that they have completed the requirements for that degree and have been found worthy to have it conferred upon them today.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit said candidates to the degree Bachelor of Applied Arts, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Olivia Allison. Chelsea Cole-Pa. With distinction, Andrew Murray Ecker. Carrie Ann Jones. Kiana Lynn Kingbird. Sephora Elaine Lucille Reed. Denise Austin Resme.
Would the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Social Work please stand? Most Reverend Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting these candidates for the degree Bachelor of Social Work. I testify that they have completed the requirements for the degree and have been found worthy to have it conferred upon them today.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor, by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit said candidates to the degree Bachelor of Social Work with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Melissa Ann Crosby. Rosalind Ray Dumphy. Lisa Joan Fairweather. Michelle Louise Richard.
Would the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts and Honor Certificate in Arts please stand? Most Reverend Chancellor, I am pleased to present to you these candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts and for Honor Certificates in Arts. I testify that they have completed the requirements of that degree or certificate and have been found worthy of having it conferred upon them today.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor, by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit said candidates to the degree Bachelor of Arts and Honor Certificates in Arts with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Olivia Allison. Bailey Amy Ann Anderson. Robert Neil Anderson. Tia Michelle Anderson. Megan Amy Arbo. Nicholas John Allen Arsenault. Shelley Marie Augustine. Abby Rose Babcock. Bradley Burton Senipass Babineau. Heidi Emma May Baker. Sarah Banks. Andrea Kirsten Beals. Emily Danielle Beaulieu. Alexa May Berkshire. Wenho B. Chad William Blanchard. With distinction, Emily Pauline Blue. Michaela Rochelle Geraldine Bolster. With distinction and the prize for communication in 4th year and the prize for journalism in 4th year, Angela Lynn Bosse. Jessie Lee Samantha Boudreau. With distinction, Dominique Maria Burke. Elizabeth Ann Bradford. With distinction, Jillian Isabel Brandon Hart. Leah Arlene Marie Brewer. Brooklyn Mamie Brown. Shelby Denise Brown. With distinction, Nadia Destiny Lynn Byers. Tyrone Terrell Capelin. With distinction, Kelly Lynn Chase. Abigail Jane Clark. Alana Jean Cleven. Courtney Lee Cliff. Chelsea Cole Pa. Renee Michelle Como. Kathleen Joan Cookson. Sabrina Ida Corti. Vanessa Lynn Crawford. Jillian Lorna Cunningham. Logan Dale Curry. With distinction, Victoria Lynn Da Silva. Kaylee Marie Dimone. Allison Margaret Denham. With distinction and the prize for communication in 4th year, Emily Ruth DeRoche. Marissa Gina DiCarlo. Ryan Giovanni Didiodato. Casey Marie Dixon. Liam Reginald Dory. Renee Danielle Doucette. With distinction, Ella Elizabeth Doucette. With distinction, Emily Danielle Doe. With distinction, Leanne Rosemary Doxteter. Jordan Michael Doyle. With distinction, Sarah Jane Drost Betts. Samuel James Drummond. Emma Madeline Dufresne. Chantel Alice Duguay. Kayla Dawn Duplessis. Lorena Claire Ellis. Carrie Lynn Ewert. With distinction, Ashley Marie Fanjoy. Spencer Wayman Farrell. Nicholas Allen Foote. Stephanie Lynn Ford. Jacob Yannick Poljanowski Fox. With distinction, Anna Mika Froning. That's a chance, Bob. With distinction and the prize for psychology in 4th year, Shanisa Ann Gallant. With distinction, Victoria Beatrice Gibson. Justine Marie Gerard. With distinction and the certificate in experiential learning and community engagement, Troy Lionel Graham Glover. With distinction, Dominique Danielle Gauguin. Ashley Elizabeth Gormley. Janet Marie Gormley. Bailey Dawn Graham. Haley Lena Ann Grass. Alexandra Sarah Hashi. With distinction, Paula Marie Sheridan Hashi. Laud Hammond. Spencer Sansom Hay. Sekou Aziz Salahuddin Hendrickson. With distinction and the Ambassador of Switzerland Prize for French, Cassidy Marie Henniger. Emily Ann Henry. Christina Samantha Joyce Hogan. With distinction, Kristen Elizabeth Holmes. With distinction, Kirsten Lorraine Hoyt. With distinction, Jamie Lee Hunt. Shur Jiang. With distinction, Hannah Nicole Johnston. Deidre Lynn Jones. With distinction, Samantha Madison Jones. Sarah Alice Ann Keller. Morgan Tekoa Kennedy. Jordan Christopher Kidney. Liam Michael King. Trinity Kirk. Cheyenne Kelly Lynn Ladd. With distinction, Catherine Grace Lansley. With distinction, Lisa Nicole Lawyer. Amanda Lauren Leach. With distinction, Alec Courier Lee White. Alex Mary Legacy. Nathaniel Paul Legier. Maria Jose Leva. Adam Nicholas Lorette. Lauren Mary Lipsett. With distinction, Naomi Lopez. Olivia Rose Lynch. With distinction, Jessica Lynn McFarland. Lauren Mary McKenzie. With distinction and the prize for psychology in 4th year, Alexandra Kayla Mackey. With distinction, Shannon Christine McGuire Esty. Dimitri Alexei Makridis. Morgan Christy Charles Matheson. Catherine Allison Maxwell. With distinction, Emma Jean McCorkle. Jessica McKee. With distinction, Darshini Modnisawmi. With distinction, Megan Alexandra Mutusami. Liam Patrick John Mullerin. Laura Margaret Murphy. Samantha Rita Neal. Aiden Cheryl Kate Nickerson. With distinction, Michaela Emily Otway. Brianne Marie O'Keefe. Hikaru Onoda with distinction. With distinction, Brianna June Ormond. Zachary George Parker. Jessica Pattenode. Michael Paul. Jessica Jane Paul. Michael Paul. Tara Lynn Margaret Peltier. Jonathan Paul Penne. Gage Purley. Caitlin Michelle Perry. Daisy Peter Paul. William Jacob Pitt. Cody Jacob Pleshka. Emily April Priest. With distinction, Lyndon Aaron Pugh. Gavin Alexander Reed. Julia May Reed. Mandy Ashley Richard. Melanie Richard. Sarah Elizabeth Richard. Taylor Catherine Richard. Taylor Joan Ryu. Esteban Riviera Salazar. With distinction and the Marguerite Michaud Prize for French-Canadian Literature, Rosanna Adrian Cynthia May Roach Lucas. Andrew Brandon Ross. With distinction, Jennifer Grace Russell. Samantha Darlene Solis. Selena Ann Gale Sawyer. Jenna Christina Seeley Wright. With distinction, Laura Marie Seal. With distinction, Isabel Serrano. Clara Evangeline Simpson. With the Congregation of Notre Dame Prize for Religious Studies in 4th year, Vanessa Artemis Scurry. With distinction, Carly Lynn Smith. With distinction, Esther Helen Sokup. Devin Wendell Stone. Courtney Lynn St. Peter. With distinction, Lacey Dawn Sullivan. Maitland Kimberly Terrio. Bailey Ann Terrio. Samantha Dawn Thibodeau Fairley. Amber Ashley Thompson. Carrie Lynn Thorne. John Michael Thurber. Mackenzie Heather Tooker. Megan Elizabeth Tozer. Rachel Maria Elizabeth Vanier. Sydney Ray Walls. Darby Katarina Watling. Byrne Mariah Weston. Elizabeth Ann Michelle White. Lauren Elizabeth White. Alexis Marie Whitman. Celeste Fiona Wickerink. Katrina Elizabeth Withrow. With distinction, Joelle Amanda Wanitaway. Yeshuan Abigail Wu. Robin Lynn Young. With honors in criminology and criminal justice, and with distinction, Anna Morgan Hay. With honors in criminology and criminal justice, and with distinction, Alexandra Elizabeth Jewett. With honors in economics and with distinction, Samantha Diane Squires. with honors in English language and literature and with distinction, and the Research Essay Prize in English, Fatima Zora Akbar. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, Monica Mary Furness. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, Nolan Anthony Joseph Gauguin. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, Robert Allen Lynn. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, and the David Valensky Prize in Creative Writing, Alexis Renee McCormick. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, Kathleen Lorraine Pond. With honors in great books and with distinction, Whitney Lynn Beals. With honors in great books and with distinction, Philippe Anthony Joseph Ferland. With honors in great books and with distinction, Ethan Wayne Merrifield. With honors in great books and with distinction, and the Great Books Best Honors Thesis and the prize for highest standing in Great Books Major, Michael Orest Pelotto. With honors in great books and with distinction, Shania Ann Charlene Taylor. With honors in history and with distinction, Jacob Philip Glenn Agnew. With honors in history, Rachel Ann Berry. With honors in history and with distinction, Nicholas Malcolm DeCary. With honors in human rights and with distinction, and the Craig J. Carlton QC Essay Prize in Human Rights, Brianna Carey Matchett. With honors in human rights and with distinction, and the Craig J. Carlton QC Essay Prize in Human Rights and the Science and Technology Studies Prize, Laura Aaron Robinson. With honors in human rights and with distinction, Rachel Patricia Slip. With honors in international relations, Andrea Sofia Lopez Solorzano. With honors in Native Studies and with distinction, Catherine M. Avery. With honors in philosophy, Navy Vizina. With honors in philosophy and with distinction, and the Mark Adams Prize for Philosophy in 4th year, Alexander Joseph Richard Wenzel. With honors in political science and with distinction, Amy Gabriella Baldwin. With honors in psychology and with distinction, and with the Dr. Helen Lyons Memorial Prize for Psychology Honors in 4th year, and the Ray and Lorraine Irving Prize for Best Thesis, and the Canadian Psychological Association's Certificate in Academic Excellence for Honors in Psychology, Hee Young-sul Na. With honors in psychology and with distinction, and the Ray and Lorraine Irving Prize for Best Thesis, and the Canadian Psychological Association's Certificate of Academic Excellence for Honors in Psychology, Cameron Miller-Smith. With honors in Science and Technology Studies, and with distinction, Rebecca Lynn Rita Morel. University Registrar Karen Preston will assist in the presentation of the diploma with honors in sociology and with distinction, and the Sociology Prize for 4th year, Kayla Emily Shirley Preston. University Chaplain Father Daly will assist in the presentation of the diploma with honors in economics and with honors in history with distinction, and the prize for economics in 4th year, and the Chuddy McCarthy Memorial Prize for history in 4th year, Jimmy Andres Beltrain Caraballo. With honors in English language and literature, and with honors in great books and with distinction, and the Bishop Hill Prize for English in 4th year, and the prize for highest standing in great books major, Hannah Zamora. With honors in political science, and with honors in great books and with distinction, and the George J. Harrington Prize for Political Science in 4th year, Matthew Kelly LeBlanc.
Please join me in congratulating all of our graduates with a second round of applause. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian for today's convocation. The valedictorian is chosen by the graduating class in an election held each spring. I'm pleased to introduce this year's valedictorian, Andrea Lopez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bishop Harris, President Don Russell, honorary degree recipients, friends, family, faculty, staff, and members of our class 2018. My name is, get ready for this, Andrea Sofia Lopez Solórzano. Okay, if you haven't noticed, I'm Latina, and yes, that is my name. For Stu, though, I was simply Andrea. I can't believe this day is here. We have gathered to celebrate our glorious graduating class of 2018. Can you believe it? I still think it's a dream, and I will wake up at any moment. So before I wake up, let me start by thanking everyone who had helped us along the way. Thank you, parents, friends, faculty, and staff members for your continued support throughout our collegiate journey. Friends, we all know that it has not been easy, but here we are. We did it. And I've been waiting 4 years to say that. On a personal note, thank you, Mom, for everything. Thank you, Dad, for everything. I know that my fellow graduates feel the same way. 4 years ago, I arrived at still a child. Yes, my big sister had to drop me off, get me settled, and I cried when she left. I actually begged her to take me back home with her. I'm so glad she didn't. 4 years later, I live still as an accomplished graduate. And like you, I would like to think maybe a little bit more mature now than when I arrived. As an international student, born and raised in El Salvador, people often ask me, do you get homesick? I'm always hesitant in answering this question because I don't want to sound distant or cold. But the truth is, after the first few days, I never really got homesick. I missed my family and friends, but I knew they were rooting for my success. For many of us, it still has been our home away from home, a place of growth, a place where we have made new friends that are like family. For others, including myself, it has been a place where we saw our very first snowfall. More importantly, it's been a place where we have found ourselves. As freshmen, trust me, we had no idea what we were doing. Many of us did not know how to live on our own, from doing laundry, cooking a decent meal, what courses to select, and how to manage our daily schedule. St. Thomas University has gave us the opportunity to challenge ourselves and learn how to overcome difficulties, both personal and academic. Until this day, I still don't know which one was more challenging, but we all survived. And we are now about to embark in our next challenge, life on our own as young professionals, becoming part of an adult society. Oh my, that's a scary thought. President Don Russell, will you take us back? Maybe just one more semester? Just kidding. We're all ready for the world. Stu have provided us with opportunities that we could never have imagined. Opportunities that have opened new doors for our future. Stu has taught us that in life, you need to have courage to speak your mind and to ask questions. That by acquiring a liberal arts degree, your possibilities can be endless. Stu has given us the tools to build a better future for ourselves and the world. Now we must do the job. Today, we all share the same conflicted feelings. On one hand, we are excited and ready to start a new chapter in our lives. We can't wait to thrive as free adults. Free adults, well, I have to let that thought sink in. On the other hand, we are saddened to realize our years as university students are officially over. We will no longer be hanging out in JDH waiting for our class to start, or walking all the way to Holy Cross, or even those fun nights wings at the cellar. We're leaving with a degree, and our memories cherish them. Both for them, they have made today possible. Still, you will always forever be in our hearts. We will forever be Tommies. To my classmates, we live here today as young professionals with high hopes, dreams, and each pumped up to succeed and conquer the world. Class of 2018, congratulations! After drinking, chug lots of coffee, thinking today was too far away, sometimes wanting to give up and drop everything, We kept pushing ourselves. We kept studying. We kept dreaming for tomorrow. Well, today is our tomorrow. And we did it, class of 2018. We have graduated. We have made our families proud, our professors proud, and most importantly, ourselves proud. Never forget that part. Always take pride in every accomplishment. The real world now awaits us, and it's uncharted water for us all. But if we kept pushing forward like we have, if we keep applying the lessons that we have learned at STU, we will succeed. Let's take pride in every step we take to live our dream. Each step counts immensely towards the biggest reward of all, to be happy in our professional choice and to be happy in our lives. We are university graduates. We are champions, and we are STU. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. I would now ask our Dean, Dr. Susan Malcomson, to come forward and announce this year's Special Merit Awards for faculty.
The John McAdee Memorial Teaching Award goes to Dr. Grant Williams, a professor in our School of Education. Dr. Williams' numerous letters of nomination for this award speak to his ability to inspire his students to be the best teachers they can be, while also providing the tools for them to do so. He's known as being available and approachable by his students and colleagues, and for embracing a teaching philosophy that emphasizes kindness, ownership, and professional development. I invite Dr. Williams to come forward to receive his to receive his award from President Russell. I've been doing too many degrees. This year's recipient of the University Special Merit Award for Scholarship is history professor Dr. Carrie Watt. Dr. Watt is a scholar of South Asia whose broad interests range from modern Indian to world history, including thematic studies of youth, sports, philanthropy, and citizenship. His research, which has resulted in numerous books and articles, sheds new light on the complexity of colonial societies and historical processes of globalization. I invite Dr. Watt to come forward to receive his award from President Russell. This year's recipient of the Award for Excellence in Part-Time Teaching is history professor Dr. Bonnie Huskins. Dr. Huskins is a scholar with an excellent record of teaching in such fields as Canadian and North American history, immigration, slavery, piracy, and issues in working class and labor. Her courses, which are popular and successful, appeal to students studying history out of general interest, those pursuing a major or honors, and those who are planning for graduate school. I invite Dr. Huskins to come forward to receive her reward from President Russell. This year's recipient of the University Special Merit Award for Service is political science professor Dr. Patrick Malcomson. Dr. Malcomson has an outstanding record of service. He has twice served as vice president academic and been chair of 6 different academic departments. Off campus, he chaired the New Brunswick Human Rights Commission, served on the Canadian Electoral Boundaries Commission, and he has been an expert witness before the House of Commons and Senate of Canada. He is the first professor at St. Thomas to earn each of the Faculty Merit Awards for teaching, research, and service, Would Dr. Malcomson please come forward to receive his award from President Russell?
At today's convocation, we are awarding the university's Medal for Academic Excellence in Arts. This is the highest award in arts offered by the university and is made possible through an endowment created by President Emeritus Dr. Daniel O'Brien and his family. The University Medal for Academic Excellence in Arts is awarded to the graduating student with the highest overall standing in the Bachelor of Arts program. When I announce the name, I ask that the recipient come forward and receive the medal from the University Chancellor, Most Reverend Robert Harris, and President Russell. This year, the University Medal for Excellence in Arts goes to Kayla Preston. The University Medal for Academic Excellence in Social Work, also made possible through an endowment created by President Emeritus Dr. O'Brien and his family, goes to Larissa Rose. Larissa's not with us this afternoon, but she will receive her medal at a later occasion. We now proceed to the announcement of the highest award received by a graduating student, the Governor General's Academic Medal. The Governor General's Medal, established in 1873, is one of the most prestigious awards that can be received by a Canadian educational student for exceptional academic achievement. When I announce the recipient, please come forward to receive the medal from the Chancellor. On behalf of Her Excellency, the Right Honorable Julie Payette, Governor General of Canada, we are pleased to present this year's Governor General's Medal to Hannah Zamora. This brings the spring 2018 convocation ceremony to a close. Congratulations on behalf of myself and the faculty to our graduates, and thank you to their families and friends for joining us today. I would also like to thank the Thomas for providing today's music, and please join me in a round of applause for the Thomas. After the platform party and the graduates had left the building, you are invited to join us for a reception in the dining room at George Martin Hall on the St. Thomas University campus. The national anthem this afternoon will be sung by St. Thomas student Nolan Gauguin. Please stand for the national anthem and remain standing until the procession has left the building. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
ton histoire est une épopée